Hello everyone and welcome back to oves.net. Hope you are all fantastic. Today on my test bench I have an Amiga 1000. So I never had an Amiga 1000, which was the first Amigas. I had an Amiga 500 and that one came later. So this was the first Amiga that came out in 1985, and Amiga 500 came later in around 87, I think. This one had 256 kilobyte of RAM, if I remember correctly. But this one is expandable. Alright, so let's see what we got. I don't know anything about this machine except that it is an Amiga 1000 and it has this original Amiga keyboard for model 1000. Yeah, low serial number 17,550. So the keyboard looks okay. It's as usual dirty, needs a good cleaning, and it has this old type of phone wire cable. The machine itself looks to be in fairly good condition. A lot of black marks and dirt, of course. Oh, and it has a RAM expansion, 256K RAM cartridge. Nice. And of course the 3.5-inch floppy drive built in. On the side it has the expansion port and joystick port, and the back side. Oh, the back side is very yellowed. Yeah, it has the traditional Amiga ports, parallel port, disk drive, serial port, audio, RGB out for the monitor, and there's even a TV modulator output and a video output. This one has a built-in power supply, and underneath you find the input for power cable. The top cover is a bit loose. Yeah. So the plan for this machine is to do the usual cleaning and refurbishing, and of course test if it works, and if it's not, then I'm gonna try and fix that. I'm not gonna turn the machine on before I have checked the inside, so I'm not really sure how you open this Amiga 1000. It has some screws on the back side, so I'll start with those. So I tried to unscrew some screws, but they are far down below, so I couldn't really see. But no, there are no screws, they are all missing. Only screws I can see is these two here in the front. Not really sure if I need to take them out, but I'll do it anyway. The RAM expansion seems to be screwed in. Removing those two screws. Oh, it's a bit stuck, but I think you just pull it right out. Yeah. Okay. RAM expansion. So this one was originally called only the Commodore Amiga because there were no other Amigas, and yeah, as I said, I didn't have this one in 85. I had the Commodore 64, and then later I got an Amiga 500, but I had a friend that got an Amiga 1000, so I am a little bit familiar with it. Let's see if we can get this cover off without breaking anything. I think there are some clips. Okay, so there you go. A lot of dust. I can already feel the allergic reaction coming. So I'm gonna remove this front panel, and yeah, then we can take a look on the motherboard. So I don't think I could have afforded an Amiga 1000 in 85 or 86 anyway, because they were quite expensive. Alright, that's the inside of an Amiga 1000, and it has a lot of chips. Yeah, very nice ceramic chips as well. So my first step now will be to test the power supply before I power on this board. I think that's a good idea to see that you have the correct voltages, at least before you plug it in. Then I will power it on and start testing if it actually works, and then yeah, test the floppy drive and clean it and maybe recap. So the power supply is rated at 80 watts, and it has the common voltage outputs, plus and minus 5 volt and plus 12 volts. And it also has a fan in the back that blows through the whole power supply. Alright, let's plug this in and yeah, remove the contact to the motherboard. It's a very tough contact. Alright, there it is. So I'm turning it on. Let's hope this won't go up in smoke and flames. Yeah, I can hear the fan working. It's and I can feel it blowing, so it's a very silent fan actually. So I will leave it on for a while and see if it has some development, but now I'm gonna measure and see what kind of voltages we have. So not really sure about the pins, but I guess maybe this one is ground, and it has a 509, 5.1 volt there, and there's minus 5 volts, and there is 12.06 volts. Yeah, that's very good. Alright, I will plug in the power again and then we'll test if it's actually working. So I have plugged in the power to the board, and I have a video cable that I'm gonna plug into the RF, no, it's a composite video signal out, if I only can manage. Moment of truth, will it work? Hey, there's a picture, a white one or bluish. Okay, I hear the disc spins. Alright, Amiga, kickstart. This machine actually works. Fantastic. And I hear the familiar ticking of the floppy drive, checking for disk. Okay, it turned green. So the screen went green after a while, and these colors are error codes. However, I power cycled it and it's back to the normal boot screen, so I'll leave it on for a while and check and see what happens. Okay, I had the machine on for quite some time, seems to be stable now. So and since it's old school, only through hole components, it's easy job to recap, just like 3, 6, 10, 12 caps, and then the caps in the power supply perhaps. So I just noticed on the inside of the top cover there's a lot of names written, handwritten. I haven't seen that closely on it, but yeah, probably some Commodore people. I'm just briefly testing if the floppy is actually working and can read this workbench disk. Nope. It can of course be the disk, so I'm trying another one. Nope. So it doesn't seem to want to read the floppies. So this floppy needs a little bit of attention later. Alright, that was the initial testing and the machine works. So now I'm gonna disassemble everything and clean it and make this machine shine again. I start by removing the floppy drive and then the motherboard. The floppy drive seems to be attached with just one correct screw and one that is actually not the correct one. So there's also these weird looking screws that are holding the floppy down to the actually to the joystick ports. Need a flat iron for that. So here's a little cable tie that holds the cable for the LED. Just gonna cut it off. No need for that anymore. And of course one more cable, a little ground wire. So I'll just take it off like this. Yeah. Then the board itself, I'm just gonna remove all the screws. I think that's all the screws holding down the motherboard. And but how do you get it up? It's a bit tight, but it comes. There it is. So really dirty. The fan went, and this backplate obviously needs some retrobrighting. The motherboard has RF shield on the back, and I think it's just held with some metal tabs. Just gonna bend those to remove that shield. But it is a little bit stubborn, so there it is. So this plastic film is just to prevent the metals from touching the PCB, obviously, because that would short out everything. So that's the motherboard, and it's large. I think this is one of the largest I ever had in this room. I'm gonna take it down to the garage and blow some compressed air on it just to remove all the dust. And here's the mighty 68,000 CPU Motorola. Alright, I tried to free the power supply from the case, but how on earth do you do that? I think I'll have to take a look at some other video. Maybe Jan Beta has the solution. No, I actually found the solution without checking Jan Beta, and it's just to push these tabs back like this. There's two of them. So now it's free. All right, now everything is disassembled and can be cleaned, every plastic part at least. So the Amiga case is a little bit too large for my sink, so I'm gonna use my bathtub instead. I just spray everything with this window cleaner and let it work for a few minutes. Then I give everything a good scrub. Then I just leave the whole thing into the bathtub in hot soapy water with just the dishwashing soap. That was some good dust blowing action, and now I'm gonna do a little bit more cleaning of this motherboard. And it's not very dirty, but there's always some shit on this old boards. Yeah. So I'm just gonna clean the whole board with some isopropanol, which is the name we use here in Norway. It's the same as isopropyl alcohol, or what they call it. Just gonna clean everything with this cotton pads and cotton swabs. As you can see, it's quite black just by rubbing the surface. That was a good cleaning of the motherboard, and the backside is very clean, so no need to do anything there. I just rub a cotton swab on the backside, and yeah, there's no dirt. Nice and shiny. I got this machine from my friend Kjell Ove, and it's actually his machine. I'm just doing this work for him, and maybe he will show up in this video later. The case came out very nice from the bat. Excellent. There's a few scuff marks that I'm going over now, but with some additional force. That's it. And of course a little baking soda helps on the worst spots. The backplate is, as I mentioned, very yellowed, and you can see the difference on the back side and the front of the backplate, so it needs a little bit of retro brighting. Then it's out into the autumn sun. Next up is this keyboard, and it's a very nice looking keyboard, but it's a very dirty keyboard, so this will require some cleaning. I'm gonna unscrew the keyboard and disassemble it, but the 4 screws on the back has some plastic cover. So I don't think it hurts anyone to remove those. So it was a little bit stuck there, but okay, that's the keyboard inside, and man, there's a lot of shit. Probably some dead bugs or yeah, grass. I'm gonna remove all the keys just to make sure that I can clean them. And luckily these are without any springs, so yeah, should go smooth. I'm using this cheap key puller. You just put it around the key and then just pull straight up. Oh, the space bar has 2 springs actually, and it also has this metal rod going through the key, so be careful not to break off the tabs that the metal rod is hanging on. Oh my god, look at this, there is some rust. So now I take everything down to be cleaned and make it shine again. So under all the dust and shit, this keyboard plate revealed itself as quite rusted, so not really sure how I should attack this one, but I'm gonna remove the shield around the keyboard plate. There's like these small black screws. So what I was thinking was to remove the PCB and actually take off all the individual keys, then I can do something with the metal plate. Alright, here comes my dealer. Kjell Ove. Hi.
Yes.
What do you have in your hands?
Oh, it's some old stuff from the attic. This has been through the best of times, I think.
Oh, an SX64, excellent.
Yes. So this is the brother to the one I had with me last time, and this is the one I actually have had working before.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take a look at it later. Alright, tonight I have Kjell Ove in my lab, and he's the one that owns a lot of the machines that I'm currently fixing, so welcome.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of PC stuff too, and that's has mainly been connected to my line of work. I have some stuff that's been considered old by my customers, and I have some cases pay them to take this, and in some cases it's garbage that's been collected and stuff. And now the last couple of years I haven't done anything with it. When I got kids, they kind of get stuffed in the attic and several storage rooms around, and as I have been struggling to keep track of this and to keep this from growing in size, I have actually come to the term that I'm not going to use everything.
All right, great. And you actually mostly work with electronics, or have been doing before?
Actually, my line of work the last years has been not so much computers, but to get people to use computers in the right way. So it's been less and less electronics. So it's the same with me as the industry in general. It's computers is just going to be a throwaway product. You don't repair computers anymore. And as a kind of a nostalgic guy, I kind of wants to have stuff that I can repair and look at. So old computers from the area before, it was just a throwaway product that you even couldn't open. That's the kind of stuff I prefer to work with. So it's it's kind of a nice hobby. And when Tommy here started his YouTube channel, we was chatting on the internet, and he told me of some of the computers he had, and I told him about some of what I had standing in the storage area and on the attic, and he got very interested. So I took a small part of the collection and have been borrowing him some stuff that hopefully will be some nice videos in the future.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you lending me some of the machines, and you also promised me to keep a couple of machines. We haven't really discussed the details, but as of now I'm working with this Amiga 1000 you have to the right of you, and it's in the middle of the progress, so yeah. Do you recognize it?
Yeah, I've seen it before. It's actually was my first Amiga. I actually got an Amiga 1000 before I got a 500, and I've used this for a couple of years. Before I got the 500, kept it for maybe 2 or 3 months. Then I got this 2000 Amiga that I was having as my probably last working Amiga that I was doing actual work on. So all the other Amigas I've got after that, the CD32s, the CDTVs, the 600, the 1200, 4000 and stuff, that's stuff that I've been collecting afterwards. So this Amiga 1000 I have some fond memories of. It was a very troublesome computer to work with. You have to load the kickstart from floppy. The 500 had the kickstart built in, but you had to load that from floppies on the Amiga 1000. So you have twice the amount of disks to get destroyed.
Oh really? I didn't actually remember that, and that's why it wouldn't load the workbench when I tested it before. You have to load Kickstart first. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. So that's the keyboard for the Amiga, and it's very rusted on the metal between the keys. So what do you suggest I do with it?
Yes, hopefully the keyboard itself is working. This is actually a kind of special keyboard for the Amigas because it's at actual switches, not just a membrane type. But this black metal board, it kind of offers only support. So I think it will be really nice if we brush it up with some maybe black matte paint. But you have to be really careful because you can't spray this. You have to use a brush between all the switches. But hopefully this will be fully working, because this is not something that's easy to come by.
All right, thanks for the advice, and great having you here, and thanks for lending me machines, and maybe I'll see you later in another video.
Yes, it's actually great to be here, and it's a very nice experience for me to see these machines getting used again and getting some care, because this has been standing in my attic now. I haven't used this machine for over 20 years, so I actually saw a short preview of a video where he actually had this working kind of, and it's really nice to see that kind of thing with things that's only been standing in storage.
The backplate had a few hours in the sun, but then it went dark outside, so I put it in the oven on 45 degrees. And look, now it's, yeah, the yellowing is actually gone. So I rinsed it off, and yeah, it's not completely gone, but there's a big improvement. I might have it a little bit more in the sun tomorrow if we get sun here. Okay, continuing with this keyboard. So I've been looking on this keyboard, and I realized that every key is actually a switch that are soldered onto the PCB, and to remove this metal plate, this black one, you have to desolder all the keys and remove them, and I don't think that's worth the effort and the risk by doing that. So what I'm gonna do is to clean this as much as I can, and use some rust remover on the rust, and then I will paint it afterwards with some black paint. I will use a combination of scraping with something flat and steel brush like this to try to remove as much as I can. This actually creates a lot of dust, so I'll take this outside and do it there. Alright, that looks a lot better. I think most of the rust is removed, and I'm gonna spray with some IPA just to wipe it clean for yeah, I've blown already with air, but to get all the particles away. Then I use a little amount of vinegar on the affected areas, and this is vinegar made for cleaning, not food. I don't want to use too much. I don't want to get it between the keys and down to the PCB. So the vinegar has worked for a couple of minutes, and now I can remove almost all the remaining rust. It just comes off with this Q-tip, so nice. Alright, I think that's as good as I can get it without too much effort. So this is 35% vinegar, and it's pretty strong, so be careful with that if you use vinegar. And now it smells like hell. Alright, I'm gonna leave this for a while, and then I'm gonna spray it with isopropanol and try to clean off the vinegar as best I can. Finally, I use a little WD-40 all over the place, and WD-40, it promises that it lubricates, drives out moist, loosens rust, stops noises, cleans and protects. Alright, that was a lot of work for one keyboard, I think, and I'm not gonna paint it because I don't think that has any purpose, trying to paint upon this between all these keys. I think that will be just worsening, but yeah, we'll see how it goes with this. Hopefully this stops most of the rust and corrosion here, so I'll leave it with that, and now I'm gonna assemble the keyboard. Alright, that was the keyboard, looking good. And it's actually very nice to type on. It is a bit yellowed on this side here, and the space bar, but I'm gonna leave it out in the sun for a few hours whenever the sun comes up. Alright, next up is the floppy drive, and I earlier in this video I said that I didn't think this was working, couldn't read the discs, but of course, as Kjell Ove said, you need the kickstart floppy to boot first, then you can load the workbench afterwards. Alright, this is actually a Matsushita drive from Japan. So I'm just gonna remove the top cover and then see if we can blow away the dust and clean the parts inside. The usual stuff. Oh, look at all these bunnies. I think I've never seen a drive as dirty as this one. So I'm gonna take it outside and blow away all the dust with some canned air, and then I'll be back. So this is better. Now it's possible to work on this one. Otherwise, this drive seems to work just fine and function as is intended. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna clean all the rest of the dirt and then lubricate a little bit here and there. And for cleaning, of course, a little isopropanol. So there's quite a bit of dirt, even if I have used quite a bit of compressed air to blow this clean. So I'm taking off the cover, the top cover here over the floppy, and if you push this little thing here and down and hold the right head up a bit, then you can slide this one back. It's a little bit of wiggling there. So now it's much easier to clean inside. Alright, that's it for the cleaning, I think. Now I'm gonna lubricate the parts that are actually moving and are frictioning against each other. I'm lubricating these call it, tabs here on the sides, because those are moving back and forth into the frame. So this is a little bit of silicone grease. And I'm also putting a little bit of this onto these rails for the drive head. Just a tiny amount, and then this will be distributed by itself when the head is moving. Oops, I made a little mistake. I forgot to lift the read and write head before I put the plate in place. Okay, that's fixed. So, yeah. Alrighty, that was the floppy drive refurbished, and now, yeah. I think the next would be to take a look at the power supply. Hopefully this is working just fine now, and but I haven't really tested it, so next task is this power supply, and it's an Shindengen electric. Yeah, I haven't really heard about that, but it's full of dust and shit, as everything else was on this machine, so it needs to be cleaned first. And my plan is to recap this if I can get the proper caps. I know there's a big one inside here that can be difficult to get, so we'll see about that. Look. Ta-da! As expected, full of dust, so I'm gonna take this out and blow it. So this is the big 400 volts capacitor, and I have never seen a capacitor that big before, actually. Otherwise all the caps and everything looks to be in good shape. I'm gonna remove the rest of the screws just to maybe I can free the PCB itself from the case. Not really sure how to proceed with this. Aha, there's some screws down here. And there's one little bit awkwardly placed screw behind those cables there. Then you have these cable connectors, also a little bit tightly placed. Finally this one, what's this kind of patent? Turn and then push. I think everything is loose now. I don't know how to. Do I need to remove the fan? No. Fan's going there, so. Oh, it's the power button that's in the way. All right, now it slides out. Nifty. Now I can bring the whole thing out and blow it clean. Okay, that's everything dust free, and this one's quite beefy power supply, I must admit. I'm just gonna clean a little bit more. This PCB needs some more cleaning. Alright, that's the power supply. This far I have ordered the caps for recapping it, but I still have to wait some days before they arrive, so I think I'll call this one part 1, and besides that I have other material for part 2, recapping the motherboard, and also I need to fix up this original Amiga 1000 external drive. Also this one, the external RAM cartridge need to be checked out as well. Then I have to assemble everything and do some testing. That's the most exciting part, perhaps. Alright, so this is part 1 completed for the Amiga 1000 restoration. This large machine is far too much work for just a single episode, and yeah, I have plenty of other interesting stuff to do with this machine in the next episode, so until then stay tuned, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.